They reversed the result of your fight.
Yeah.
Should they reverse the result of that fight as well?
Just depends. Like if that changes the whole fight, if that gives Roach a victory, give him the victory. That's how you keep the integrity of the sport, right? That's why they suspended me, right? To keep the integrity.
Tank seems fed up with people making fun of him for taking a knee during the Roach fight, and now he's clapping back. But the criticism hasn't died down since the fight ended, and Gervonta Davis is definitely feeling the pressure.
Gervonta Tank Davis, GTD, and I don't mean got the draws, went up against Lamont Roach. Let me tell you something. Tank got spanked. Roach should have won. And Tank even dropped to his knee. It should have been called a knockdown.
And now, it's not just him. A new video has surfaced featuring an interview with referee Willis, and the situation is only getting more intense. Let's catch you up.
Did Gervonta Davis take a knee, and should he have been deducted a point and in the end lost that fight to Roach, in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, it was a draw. He take a knee. And plus the corner go up.
The same fans who once cheered for him, the same analysts who used to call him the most dangerous puncher in boxing, are now using a single moment to tear Tank down. The internet has been relentless. Memes are everywhere. And suddenly, everyone has an opinion on what went down in that ring. Meanwhile, the New York State Athletic Commission is still reviewing Steve Willis's handling of the fight, making things even more interesting. Just hours ago, Tank had enough. Frustrated, he went off, making it clear that he's fed up with how boxing works. Like I said, boxing is trash. Look at everyone bashing me. They're the same ones who bet on me, he said. In boxing, you lose once or have a bad night, and suddenly, everyone forgets everything and just focuses on that one bad night.
Boxing has become this thing where, you have to be undefeated for people to care about you, and that's all gonna...
He isn't wrong. Ever since the fight, the focus hasn't been on his career, his power, or his dominance. It's all been about that one moment. The moment he dropped to a knee. The moment Steve Willis hesitated. The moment Lamont Roach Jr. was arguably robbed of a legitimate knockdown. Suddenly, the narrative around Tank has shifted. The same people who once called him unstoppable are now saying he's vulnerable. Fighters who used to avoid mentioning his name are suddenly taking shots, acting like this is their chance to call him out. And the biggest insult? People are now acting like Shakur Stevenson could walk right through him.
What may happen against Shakur Stevenson? I hear more about Shakur Stevenson after this fight than I hear about Lamont Roach, which I think is sad.
That's what really set Tank off. I lost focus in there, but that doesn't mean he snapped. I'll get back up, and we'll see what everyone says. I'll put all of them down. It's clear that Tank isn't just reacting to the Roach fight. He's responding to the disrespect. He sees the analysts, the fans, and the fighters taking shots at him, and he's making it known that he isn't backing down. But while Tank deals with the backlash, the debate around the fight itself is still heating up. The ProBox TV panel discussion made one thing clear. What happened in that ring was a disaster. Veteran boxing writer Dan Rafael didn't hold back, saying, "That bad night by Willis cost Lamont Roach a championship, deprived him of handing the first loss to America's top fighter. A lot went wrong, and it was all against Lamont Roach."
If the question is about Gervonta Davis's power, what is his power like? Is he as hard a puncher as he's made out to be? If the best name that somebody could give me of somebody that he knocked out is a little dude who was at his, fourth weight? I can't read too much in.
Jack Rice, a respected former referee, along with trainers Stephen Breadman, Edwards, and former champions Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi, all agreed. Roach's knockdown should have been called. The way Willis handled the situation raised too many questions. First, there was the hesitation. Then, Tank turned his back and walked to his corner in the middle of the round. And in the midst of all of that, his trainer, Calvin Ford, was allowed to step up and wipe his face with a towel. How does that happen? Malignaggi asked during the panel. How does a fighter just walk to his corner, get his face wiped, and the ref does nothing? That's insane.
To me, I think I won the fight. Now, granted, 9th round should have been called a knockdown. 2 judges on the official scorecards gave him the round 10-9. If that was a knockdown, I win the round 10-8. That's a 3-point.
And now, ProBox TV founder Gary Jonas, who also advises Roach, is pushing for the New York State Athletic Commission to overturn the fight's result. He has officially filed an appeal, arguing that Roach should be declared the winner. His reasoning? The knockdown was obvious. Tank turned his back mid-fight, and Calvin Ford illegally stepped onto the ring apron. Any one of those should have been enough for Willis to take a point. People make mistakes, but this always seems to favor the A side, Breadman Edwards pointed out, a sentiment many fans agree with. When Tank was the undefeated superstar, everything went his way. But now that there's a moment of weakness, everyone is talking about how boxing protects its biggest stars. Malignaggi didn't hold back either. "You cannot call your own timeout," he said bluntly. "That's not how this works."
You lost that fight. I mean, the only reason they gave you the fight was because you would make more money as a champion, but there's no way it's a draw, and they didn't call it a knockdown. If they called a knockdown, you lost that.
But while the commission reviews the fight, Tank has his mind set on something else: revenge. He sees what's happening. He knows that if he had knocked out Roach early, none of this would even be a discussion. He knows the same analysts criticizing him now would be praising his power if things had played out differently. And let's not forget the fighters circling him now. Shakur Stevenson wasted no time throwing shade, implying that Tank's performance proved he can't handle pure boxers. Ryan Garcia, of course, couldn't resist jumping in, clowning Tank on Twitter and saying, "Not so scary anymore, huh?"
So when your foot's out, 1 foot out, you're going to get in the ring and you're going to have that moment where you got to step it up and it just won't come. I think that's what happened.
What do you think about him taking the knee at that point?
I think that
should it have been ruled a knockdown?
100%.
Even Devin Haney, who has had his fair share of back and forth with Tank, made sure to remind everyone that real champions don't take knees. Tank isn't just hearing all this. He's taking notes. For him, this is personal now. It's not just about whether the knee should have been counted as a knockdown. It's about proving that one shaky night doesn't erase everything he's accomplished. He's always been known as the most dangerous puncher in the division, and he plans to remind the world exactly why. "I'll put all of them down," he repeated.
And I thought he won the fight personally. The no knockdown, that was like unheard of. It was the first time I've ever seen it with my own two eyes. And
there's already talk of a rematch with Roach, but at this point, that doesn't seem like enough for Tank. He's looking beyond Roach. He wants to silence every single person who's spoken on his name. He wants to erase this moment from history with a knockout so brutal that nobody ever mentions the Roach fight again. But the reality is, this controversy isn't going away. Even if the New York Commission doesn't overturn the fight, this will be a stain on Tank's legacy, at least for now. Fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, and even Muhammad Ali all had moments where they were doubted. The difference? How they responded. Tank's response is clear. This isn't the downfall people think it is. If anything, it's the start of his next chapter. And if history has taught us anything, it's that a pissed-off Gervonta Davis is the most dangerous version of him.
I'm not sure, bro. I'm definitely not sure. But hopefully we could get it before... Nah, it probably won't be this year.
Is that the one you want next?
However, even though Tank hates it, the criticism keeps coming from the biggest voices in boxing. Every day, the debate over his controversial moment grows louder, with more fighters, analysts, and even officials weighing in. The controversy isn't fading, it's only getting worse. And now, the latest twist is adding even more fuel to the fire. A new video has surfaced showing referee Steve Willis being confronted about his handling of the situation. The clip, which quickly went viral, captures a fan catching Willis off guard, demanding answers about why he didn't score a knockdown when Tank dropped to one knee. The fan didn't hold back, calling Tank's move some B, while Willis, clearly uncomfortable, refused to comment. "I can't speak on that," he said. The fan pressed again. "Can't speak on that. He did some B, though." Once more, Willis shut it down. "I can't speak on it. I can't."
When Tank did that when he took the knee, what you think when he took the knee?
I can't speak.
Can't speak on that?
Can't speak.
He did some bullshit though?
I can't speak.
No personal opinion, nothing?
Can't, especially you.
That response only made things worse. Many fans see it as an admission that Willis knows he made a mistake, but refuses to acknowledge it publicly. The fact that the referee who made the call is avoiding the conversation is giving Roach's team even more reason to push for the result to be overturned. The fight originally ended in a majority draw. One judge scored it 115 to 113 for Davis, while the other two had it 114 to 114. But with mounting pressure, there's now a real possibility that the outcome could change. WBA President Gilberto Mendoza Jr. has already made his stance clear. Let me repeat, taking a knee without a punch shall be ruled a knockdown. It affected the result of the fight.
Off night or
everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off night. Yeah, I had a fucking off night with fucking crew. Everyone has a fucking off night. It's fucking boxing. Yeah. You wanna run?
And it wasn't just Mendoza Jr. who believed Roach deserved the win. Fighters like Terrence Crawford and Ryan Garcia quickly spoke out, saying the wrong man had his hand raised. But the biggest bombshell yet? Canelo Alvarez has now jumped into the conversation, and his words were even harsher. Speaking on Abro in the morning, the undisputed super middleweight champion didn't just say Tank should have lost the round. He said he should have been disqualified. He'd take a knee. You need to lose like 10-8 that round at least, Canelo said. And plus, the corner go up and put a towel in his face? That's disqualification for sure. I'm talking about the rules.
Did Gervonta Davis take a knee, and should he have been deducted a point and in the end lost that fight to Roach, in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, it was a draw. He take a knee. And plus the corner go up and put a towel in the face. That's a disqualification for sure. I'm talking about the rules, but it's not my...
For a fighter of Canelo's caliber to say Tank should have been disqualified is huge. This isn't just about scoring anymore. It's about whether Tank should have even been allowed to continue. If the referee had strictly enforced the rules, Roach might have walked away with a stoppage win. Tank's excuse for taking a knee has only fueled the controversy. His own hairstylist, who worked on his hair before the fight, posted on Instagram that the products used wouldn't have caused such an issue. The post was quickly deleted, but screenshots are now circulating online, adding even more doubt to Tank's explanation. And the backlash doesn't stop there. The New York State Athletic Commission has now confirmed that they attempted to use instant replay to review the 9th round, but were unable to due to a technical issue. According to their statement, during the round in question, following the commission's request for the replay video, there was a technical issue preventing the commission from receiving it within the allotted time for review. Therefore, the referee's in-ring decision was relied upon, and the fight continued. That explanation isn't sitting well with a lot of people. If an instant replay system exists but wasn't working when it mattered most, what's the point? This isn't the first time the NYSAC has been criticized for handling a controversial fight, and this latest situation is only adding to the distrust fans already have toward the system.
Hurt, there's no doubt about that, but if you take a knee in the fight and you touch down, whilst punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, "Oh, that he should be disqualified. He went back to the corner." I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that's a warning, but it's a bit of a bizarre situation for me. Like there was a.
Roach's team isn't letting this go. They have now officially sent a letter to the NYSAC demanding that the fight result be overturned. Their argument is simple: Tank voluntarily took a knee, and the referee failed to call it a knockdown. That alone could have changed the outcome of the fight. But beyond that, Calvin Ford stepping into the ring mid-round should have resulted in either a point deduction or a disqualification. Roach and his team believe that when all these factors are considered together, there's no way Tank should have kept his belt. Even some of Tank's own fans are struggling to defend him. Some argue that the fight was close enough that Roach winning the 9th round 10-8 wouldn't have guaranteed him a victory. Others claim that even if it had been ruled a knockdown, Tank would have found a way to win in the later rounds. But those arguments are getting drowned out by the overwhelming criticism that just won't stop.
Never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again.
To make matters worse for Tank, former referee Jack Rice, one of the most respected officials in boxing, has publicly stated that the wrong call was made. Speaking on ProBox TV, Rice didn't hold back. It should have been a knockdown, no question about it. The fighter voluntarily went down, and under the rules, that's a knockdown. Rice also pointed out that the moment Tank took a knee, the fight should have been paused. Instead, chaos erupted. Tank walked to his corner, got wiped down, and the referee let the fight continue as if nothing had happened. This was a mess, Rice said. It wasn't handled correctly at all.
It's very unfortunate, but if there was some outside factor that did get into his eye, I don't know. You're walking on a gray line, and that's when things aren't necessarily black or white. So it's a tough.
For the first time in his career, Tank isn't in full control of his own narrative. The fans, analysts, and even fellow fighters are dictating the conversation. And if the commission decides to overturn the result, it could become one of the biggest scandals in modern boxing history. Devin Haney has now joined the growing list of fighters who believe Lamont Roach Jr. should have had his hand raised. The former undisputed lightweight champion made it clear that, in his view, Roach not only put up a strong fight, but did enough to win outright. Haney's opinion carries weight. He's watched Roach develop since their amateur days, and his assessment only adds to the controversy. But it was the 9th round incident that left Haney, like many in the boxing world, in disbelief. He echoed the sentiment of fans, analysts, and fighters alike. Davis voluntarily took a knee, and it should have been called a knockdown. That was unheard of, Haney said, making it clear that he had never seen a ruling like that in all his years in boxing. That moment in the 9th round has become the center of the dispute. Davis, clearly struggling, dropped to one knee after Roach's jab landed near his eye. Referee Steve Willis, standing just feet away, initially appeared to start a count before hesitating and waving for the action to continue.
Yeah. Oh, stop closing up. Gotta let it go. Keep turning, step around. Keep turning.
Roach's camp wasted no time in filing an official protest. His attorney, Greg Smith, sent a formal challenge to NYSAC Executive Director Matt Delaglio, demanding that the result be overturned in Roach's favor. Though boxing protests rarely lead to overturned results, the sheer weight of this controversy, combined with the NYSAC's admission of a technical failure, has raised serious questions about the sport's regulatory process. The impact of the decision, or lack thereof, is clear. Had Willis ruled it a knockdown, Roach would have won a 10-8 round. That alone would have flipped the final scores and made him the new WBA lightweight champion.
The New York State Athletic Commission makes a statement yesterday that they're going to be reviewing Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, 9th round, knockdown, not a knockdown, whatever, to see what the...
Davis's explanation only added fuel to the fire, sparking widespread skepticism, even from his own hairstylist, who cast doubt on his claim in a now-deleted Instagram post. Despite the backlash, the WBA initially defended Willis's decision. The sanctioning body published an article on its website stating that the referee's call was neither unreasonable nor unjustifiable. The article argued that critics were wrong to suggest Davis benefited from Willis's ruling and concluded that no knockdown should have been recorded. That statement only made things worse. Fans, fighters, and analysts erupted, calling it blatant favoritism. The backlash was so intense that WBA President Gilberto Mendoza was forced to step in. He quickly had the article removed from the website and distanced the organization from its claims. Mendoza then took an unusual step. He personally apologized to Roach and his father via social media. "Champ, as president of the WBA, I must apologize for the opinion of a website contributor. We believed in you since day one. We knew you would have a marvelous performance, and we are proud of you as a champion," Mendoza wrote. His direct message to Roach's father carried the same tone, acknowledging the unfairness of the situation while insisting that the WBA had always supported Roach's journey. But apologies weren't enough. The controversy had already reached a boiling point, and Mendoza knew the WBA had to take further action.
I signed for the immediate rematch when I signed for the first fight.
Right.
Just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long we taking?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's going to be soon. I'm hoping it's going to be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
The biggest move came when Mendoza publicly announced that he had asked the WBA committee to push for an immediate rematch. I have asked the WBA committee to follow up on Lamont Roach Jr.'s direct rematch case closely, Mendoza stated. However, we believe the parties, as expressed in the post-fight interview, will amicably agree to run it again. Davis himself has claimed that he is open to a rematch, but given the circumstances, many doubt his sincerity. If a rematch were to happen, Roach's team would likely push for a different referee, considering how costly Willis's decision proved to be.
If I hit him with a little jab or whatever the case, oh, that ain't nothing. Or if he hit me, or if I block a shot, I was like, oh, too slow. Or, you know what I'm saying, stuff.
Meanwhile, the NYSAC remains under fire for its role in the controversy. Their admission of a technical issue preventing replay review has drawn heavy criticism, with many calling for reforms to ensure such failures don't happen again. The commission's explanation did little to ease concerns. A spokesman confirmed that the issue occurred during the round in question when the commission requested a replay but was unable to receive the video in time. Therefore, the referee's in-ring decision was relied upon, and the fight continued, the spokesman said. With some of the biggest names in boxing weighing in, the pressure on NYSAC is mounting. Roach's team continues to push for justice, while the WBA is now being forced to reconsider its stance after initially defending the referee's decision. As it stands, Davis retains his title, but the controversy surrounding this fight is far from over. Calls for a rematch are growing louder, and scrutiny over NYSAC's handling of the situation isn't going away anytime soon. The commission's inquiry will likely take weeks, if not months, to conclude, but once new details emerge, you'll be the first to know. Stay tuned for updates.